All right, everybody, welcome to the 81 Reasons Pod, or welcome back to everybody who's checked us out. We got a new guest in here today, Mr. Tyshon Holden. Appreciate you coming on, bro. Um,
Absolutely.
Tyshon, he is from Gahanna, Ohio. Went to Lincoln High School. Also attended the University of Cincinnati. He is now the founder, president of a nonprofit, Holden Hands, and he does a lot for the city of Cincinnati. Excited to hear his story. There's a lot of ins and outs to it when it comes to how he's gotten here. So, yeah, Tyshawn, appreciate you coming on, bro. As for, I guess, starting things off, I know I mentioned you're from Gahanna. How was it like Gahanna wise growing up? I know that's around the Columbus area. How was it like kind of in that city? Was it a little rough? Was it a nicer area? I mean, how was it kind of getting through the beginning stages growing up?
I'm gonna cut you off for a second, just because I told myself that I'd do this. I made a note of it. Zach, no, I'm gonna be me. First off, before I start, I gotta say I really appreciate you guys for making this platform, um, tributing, your brother, teammate of mine, a friend of mine, and Deej, man. That definitely the news. You two were definitely the first people that I thought of. Zach, I know, was the first person that I texted. So I definitely have to acknowledge that first and foremost
Wow.
because that was definitely something that I think shook all of us. It shook Cincinnati, um, and it's just hopefully it's going to open up the room for more conversation, because our athletes are hurting, and there needs to be more people that we can call on. So check on your people. I
Yeah, for
always
sure.
let people know that ever since I heard, and it just we need to say it more. So I'm gonna start off with saying that again. Thank you guys for creating this. This is awesome. This is dope. It's inspirational, and I love everything about this, and I'm grateful to be here.
Appreciate you,
Um,
bro. Appreciate you.
Always gotta
Yeah,
gotta
yeah,
start off right.
appreciate that for real.
Um, for Gehenna, so to understand me, you got to understand that like I've moved around a bunch growing up. Um, so I was born in Cleveland. I've been all over the map: New Jersey, Connecticut, Atlanta, Alabama. Spent some time in China. Like, you know what I mean? So I've always, like, my whole life been constantly on the go, which also means I've been constantly the new kid. You know what I mean? Um, so when we first got to Columbus, Ohio, I ended up attending my freshman year of high school. I attended a new school that just started its first year. It wasn't in Gahanna yet. Um, and it was like Columbus International High School. Like I said, it was brand new, kind of like an art hybrid sort of situation that they were trying to start. No football team. Um, and that was a tough year because I obviously wanted to play football. And me growing up, I've always, loved the game, and it was hard to be away from the game for a year. But I promised my parents I'd stick it out because of, some of the academic promises that they were trying to uphold. Um, Luckily for me, we ended up having an opportunity for me to transfer, to Gahanna. My family found a place to move to in Gahanna that made sense, so we moved to Gahanna, and I got to play football. So that's what kind of landed me in Gahanna, going into like my sophomore year. Um, Gahanna was cool. Not too much going on. I still view it as a very quiet place. Most people, I guess, around my age, I learned early that people had their cliques. People had been in Gahanna their whole lives. So I was just kind of walking into a scenario where, I'm either going to find my group or I'm not. And for me, at the time, being as private as I am, I just didn't really care. I'm there to go to school, play football. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
home. You
And
know.
that's one thing I could tell from you. I mean, from knowing you as long as I've known you, dude. You
Mhm.
like you don't try to fit in, and that's a a blessing. Some people may look at it differently. Like, and that's one thing I always credit to you, man. You never tried to fit in. Like, you did what you did. And like, either you liked it or you didn't. And if you didn't, it is what it is. Like,
you know what I mean?
So I applaud you for that. Because a lot of people in today's day and age, they don't do that. Everybody
and sometimes I wish I was different. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes I definitely wish, maybe I would in certain areas try to go and seek that friendship or seek connections this way or that way. But it's not me. You know what I mean? Like, it's not natural, I just, again,
do you think maybe just moving cities at a young age, kind of bouncing around, not really having a stationary kind of place for X amount of time, do you think that was the reason kind of why you are the way you are, just not as close with people because who knows when you'll be leaving and not really building that bond?
That's deep.
Yeah, I never really thought about it like that. But yeah, I mean, I could see that. Like, I mean, you're talking about going to places and staying there for 2-3 years at a time before I leave. So it's like, what's the point of being overly connected to these people? I don't have a childhood best friend because I moved so many different places. We're going to be cool right now, but I probably won't remember who you are in the next 5 years, And that was my reality, like, growing up. So, like, I could definitely see that. Like, and being a young kid too, that's hard to, like, understand. Like, you know what I mean? And like having to constantly move away from maybe the friends that you made, like knowing that you ain't gonna see them again. Like, it's probably draining too, exhausting. But I never really thought about it like that. So I could definitely see that. But yeah, that's
sure. What about
private?
Yeah. What about like the reasons why? Was it like a military background, your mom or dad? Well, what made you kind of? I mean, obviously you're not doing it. You just hopping ship. Right. You getting in the car, packing the bags, and moving. But what kind of was the reasons being?
Yeah, so that's everyone's first guess, military, because when they hear just the drastic like changes and whatnot. But what I tell people is my parents were professional students. So you have my mom going to OSU. My stepdad was at Morehouse College. So, my mom, that pulled me and my mom go down to Atlanta, right? So now they're together in Atlanta. And then, they went to school at Princeton. So we had to go to New Jersey, you know what I mean? So they were seeking their master's in New Jersey and going into theology and being mentored by Cornell West. So I spent probably my longest time in New Jersey. And then my stepdad got a job in Connecticut. So boom, we're going to Connecticut. So we there for 2 years. Wait, mom wants to go get, another degree back at Princeton. So mom's going down to Princeton. We're still in Connecticut. Eventually we go back to New Jersey. So it was just like a cycle of just like opportunity for my parents, and I have young parents too. So it's like opportunities they had to take advantage of. And Tyshon's just along for the ride.
And that's you saying that, dude. That you rarely hear those type of stories with parents that have young children. You know what I mean? That are chasing their dreams while still having young children. Normally they sacrifice for their children. But I'm not saying they didn't, but that's a testament to your parents. Like they okay, we gotta go make sure we right, obviously, to set our kids up. So I know that probably wasn't easy for them, but that's a testament to your parents in itself. Like,
man,
shout out to them for because even too. A lot of people got that excuse like, oh, I could have did it, you know what I'm saying? Then I could have did it then. I got a baby now. But your parents, they kind of just put their head down and did it. So, especially too, I don't know, getting a master's, getting that much school in them, setting themselves up for future success. So, you can have a good way of living and then they can kind of take care of what they need to take care of for future wise.
Man, my mom is the strongest person I think that I know. And she's also on my board, and we'll talk about that later. She just won NBC's Most Remarkable Woman for Central Ohio this past year. But, she was a rapper in high school. You know what I mean? Like crazy. You can't make this up, bro. Like the stuff that I'm going to tell you can't make up. My mom was a rapper in high school. Ended up getting pregnant with me at 16. For most people from Cleveland, Ohio, that's game over. You know what I mean? And for her to still, get a full ride to OSU with me. So I'm attending classes with her at OSU, on campus with her. You know what I mean? And the, just the to have the wherewithal to be able to navigate through that alone is crazy to me still. I feel like I barely survived college all the time. You know what I mean? So to be able to do that, still continue to meet, someone to you consider to be like a love interest, and have your goals aligned to where it's leading you to all these different places, you know what I mean, is remarkable. And again, like I was just there for the ride. Like I feel like I grew up with my parents, and I feel like as much as they are parents, they're best friends, and and they're like grown siblings to me, like in another sense too, because of, the youth side of it, man. So it's just again a crazy, crazy story.
Yeah. No, I was talking with my friends. I mean, I'm 30, just turned. Zach is as well. No kids, but it's kind of one of those where, like, I don't know, once you do have kids, they're growing up. 17, 18-year-olds will be late 40s, early 50s. But like that, when you're young and have kids, I mean, it's hard, but it's also, I feel like a lot more enjoyful just because you can kind of, I don't know, spend that time.
You get years
while
back,
doing
I
that.
feel like, on the back end.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you grow together. Like, I mean, you think about, I'm gonna just put it in a relationship sense. If you meet your companion, right, and you're together forever or for however long, you know what I mean, you actually grow together, and that relationship just builds and builds and builds. So I
Right.
like having a child at a young age. I can see that being in the same sense. Like, dude, we're growing together, we're learning together. I mean, we talked about it on one of our episodes of just being able to learn together, learn all you can. And I think having a child at a young age teaches you so much. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, we're all, especially, I mean, when the time comes, we're all parents for the first time, so we can't
Yeah.
really take anything unless, most of us, if not all of us, take something from our parents growing up. I mean, I guess touching on that, Tyshon, how was it? What do you take away from just how your parents were, um, as mom and dad, just those type of figures in your life and everything you've seen, all they've went through, all that they've accomplished, everything they've endured. What do you take away from it? I mean, now you're kind of in your
So I have very cool parents. Like I said, um, they're fun. I grew up in a very positive household. Parents don't cuss. Wasn't any screaming. You know, um,
it's big.
which is a trigger for me now. I got to get used to other people's personalities, if they are loud, if they are like aggressive, because I didn't grow up like that. You know what I mean? And it puts me in like a fight or flight mode that I'm learning. But I got lectured so much. Do you know how hard it is to like try to, as a kid, like prove, like try to explain yourself to parents that went to Princeton? Like
No,
they're not going, and
no,
it's
at
like
all.
at all, bro. And it was for me, I think our number one struggle, from mother, son, father, son, was like sometimes I just want to be heard, and I feel like they I can wholeheartedly say that they probably didn't know the right answer. They didn't know like how to discipline me correctly. As much as they could. I'm the first, I'm the oldest, so it's like I'm the trial run. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not gonna be perfect, but for me, like it was hard. I wouldn't get in trouble and disciplined the traditional ways where there was no whoopings for real. Um, it's not me being grounded. It's like, no, we're gonna lecture you and talk to you for 3 hours. You're gonna listen, and then you might have a report to do. Like, you know what I mean? So it was one of those, and it was like, it was. I'm grateful for it because it kept me in check. Because now I hated writing papers, so I wasn't trying to get in trouble. But it did lead me to be like very private and like not take certain chances and gamble. Like certain kids sneak out the house, go do this, go do that. I do a couple things, but I ain't really mess around. I didn't party. I didn't hang out with anybody in high school. Like I literally was like, go to school, football, come home. It's the off season. You do your training in the morning, you go to school, you come home, and I'm chilling. Like that was it. That was law. I didn't really do too much. Now, when I got to college, then it was like, whoa, I can't get in trouble. That was a whole different ball game. But growing up, yeah, it kept it simple, kept it extremely simple, and that helped me like with a little bit of structure in my life. I don't need craziness to feel alive. I feel like some people, need a little bit of chaos.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really roll like that. So I think that's the best way I can answer that question.
Got you. So you've been speaking about your parents a lot, and then you've talked about how like you really didn't hang out with anybody who's pretty private. So I guess would you sit here and say that if you had to point out role models in your life, would you say it would be your parents, or is there somebody else, another figure in your life that you would say is your role model that's helped you grow up?
It's crazy. Everything's gonna circle back to previous things that we stated already. I can't pinpoint like a true role model outside of my parents, just because I was moving around so much. There was no one in my life consistent enough to where that like they made a huge like impact or difference, and that's nobody's fault. You know what I mean?
Right.
But that's exactly why like today I got to give these kids and I got to give certain individuals maybe what I didn't receive. And, the number one word that you hear out of my mouth, talking about Holden Hand is consistency, because, there is a tremendous value in being present. And I just didn't have that. As much as I love my parents and respect them and, they're super accomplished, they're still my parents. And like, I'm going to go against some of the things that they say just for the fact that they're my parents. You know what I mean? Like, we live together, so it's just we probably annoy each other at times or we get into it. You know what I mean? They're my parents. So because of that, I feel like I latched on to different personas I may have seen like in the media, social media, different people that were doing like positive things, or athletes. Like I would study athletes' game, but also who they were as a person. And sometimes that'll get me in trouble because people slip up, once they reach a certain level. But I feel like I found myself really latching on to like different people that I would see like elsewhere because I didn't have a set role model in my life to just be there. I'll say that.
Yeah, I mean that's where a lot of kids I feel like get inspiration. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Just sports, kind of people they see on TV, just things they kind of like idolize.
For sure.
Which I mean, as a kid, I mean that's you got your imagination is tenfold. You can kind of hope and wish you can be anything, but
Right.
that's good. So yeah, I mean, I guess we kind of talked about the beginning stages. I guess going into college, what were those steps looking like? How was I don't know, you'd mentioned kind of that call and just how did that kind of pivot to going to Cincinnati and choosing Cincinnati?
I'll say it happened real late, and everything was fast, and for the most part, I tried to ignore it because it was a new level of like attention. Again, like I'm super private. At school, didn't really have like my clique or outside of like my teammates, so I didn't want to be out there with it. You know what I mean? So literally like it was just a series of emails, like, and I let my family know, hey, this is what I'm picking to do. I got the off season like packet of workouts that I needed to do, and like I just started skipping study hall to go to the gym. Like, you know what I mean? And that was literally that. There wasn't like a lot of conversation about it. I didn't let my school do anything extra about it. Like that just wasn't who I was. And then, before I knew it, graduation was around the corner, and I literally had to move to Cincinnati 6 days after I graduated. So didn't really get a chance to say goodbye to people. I don't know if there was many people to say goodbye to um, from Gahanna, but my parents dropped me off at what's the big glass building?
The
Lender.
glass building.
The glass dorm building.
Oh no, okay.
One of the new ones.
One of the,
Right
oh
next to
man,
right next to Turner.
Right
yeah.
next, yeah, the last one. I can't
I'm
even
not.
think of it.
It
But
came
that
after I left.
I can't, man, we old. We
Yeah.
old. But yeah, they dropped me off there, and all I had was a couple gift cards that my family and other family members gave me. Subway, Domino's, some other places. I still had a big box TV. Didn't have a flat. Had a box TV, a couple outfits, two pairs of J's, and you on your
Good.
own.
It was good.
And that was like my first time not like being with my mom, ever, you know. And this is my first time being alone. Because again, I didn't really do too much. So that was the biggest, like the first week was the biggest culture shock. And there wasn't too much going on football wise. We still had like a couple more days or a week to really get going. So I'm just like, okay, what am I doing? Like,
Yeah.
what is there to do?
Yeah.
And I did,
Summer times in Cincinnati, boy,
man,
you on that
Man.
campus, there ain't nothing to do.
there
Nothing
ain't
good.
nothing. And I really didn't know who I was supposed to be now, because now my identity is kind of shifted a little bit. There's something attached to my name that wasn't attached before. I have a shield to uphold. You know what I mean? I'm representing, a brand, a program, and a university, and it kind of like scared the hell out of me. And I don't know. I learned real quick that like I was gonna have to make certain changes to how I go about me, and maybe not be as private because they weren't gonna let me.
Yeah. No,
So,
not a chance.
you know what I mean?
Not a
Like
chance.
you had to like make certain decisions, and
Mhm.
I got 100 other brothers here now who I gotta talk to.
You got to.
If I
You
want
have to be social.
I
Yeah,
have
you
to.
got to be social.
You- if I'm not, it's gonna look like I'm a terrible teammate.
Yeah.
You know what I
Oh,
mean?
hey,
Yeah.
coach, we ain't fooling with him.
Right. And that's the last thing you want.
I want to backtrack real quick, back to the beginning stages. Before you even chose to go to UC, we talked about your high school and then how you played ball. We really didn't dive too much into it, but before we started, you was telling me telling us how it wasn't really a big school as far as when it came to football, and it was not too many, wasn't racking off too many wins, and you were just, and you were a guy on a team that was, I guess, in light terms, just a team.
Right.
Was football even a thought after high school for you? Like, were you pursuing football? Because I mean, you're a private kid. You used to being like with just your parents, and yeah, you would go to football, then you come home. Like, was football even a thought for the next level?
Yeah, for sure. Football, track. One thing I had on my side was my speed.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever see like my highlight tape from high school, it's literally just me hawking down and chasing down people because they was going straight up and
Hey,
down the
That's
sideline.
not good.
I did peep that.
Yeah, man. And
You stripped him right before the goal line too. Oh, hey,
but it was
that,
like that was literally what it was.
that'll get you recruited though. That's
Right.
that's one thing about it. Those
Effort,
type of
pass,
plays.
effort. Don't
Yeah,
give up on the
and
play. Yeah.
right. But I feel like the staff. I don't think there was maybe like a protocol in place for like putting guys in position just because we didn't have many coming out like going to D1 programs and things like that. I took it upon my own hands. Like I was emailing like schools and you know what I mean. And that was like the first time like I noticed, I like to find like loopholes and kind of like how can I get to a destination without going the traditional route, and I'll talk about that later. But yeah, I used to email schools, coaches, like set up visits on my own. Like if we're having a family vacation, like we went down to Florida one year. I'm like, hey, well, we going to see Stetson, like they haven't had a program in 50 years, but they're about to restart one. Why don't we just like go over there real quick, set up a visit so we can see the facilities, like doing stuff like that, just trying to think outside the box. So just things like that. I didn't really feel like there was that much assistance. Maybe they were feeling like we weren't there or deserving of it. I don't know. I can't speak to that, but it's my future, so why not take a little bit of control of it? So yeah, football definitely was. It's a thought. We all wanted to play ball as long as we can. I didn't want the game to end. Right after my senior year.
Yeah, assistance as in like coaches helping you get recruited.
Right.
Got you. Right. I mean, you don't really hear that a lot. I mean, when it comes to you being the one doing it, I mean, I guess it's just my perspective, how I'm looking at it. I mean, thankfully I was like recruited and things like that, and just getting film out there. Like my coaches did assist me with that. It was at the point in time we still had to, there wasn't no really huddle to kind of promote it. You had to cut clips, send out those tapes and get yourself out there. So, I mean, thankfully I did have that assistance from coaches to at least have a highlight film. Like I remember after my sophomore year, I'm like, I need to get some film out. Like I'm harping on them. Like, and thankfully, like they ended up doing it, and it was something where I don't know, help promote the recruiting a little bit easier, getting yourself out there at an earlier stage. I guess when did you start putting stuff out? Like after your junior year, after your sophomore year?
So I got there my sophomore year. Again, where I'm ending up is somewhere that's very click based with the people as a whole, like in Gahanna. So these coaches have known these kids their whole lives. Like, so there's politics in that regard. And I'm just another kid, you know what I mean? And, I remember they put me on JV my sophomore year, and because I was new and I came in super late. We moved like after summer was like winding down. So I missed all the summer sessions. Yeah. So I remember them saying that I had to play JV, but I'm like, cool, I get the ball. Wouldn't put me in the game at all. Like, so I'm just sitting there waiting. Weeks go by, bro. I used to come home crying. Like, but I know I'm good. I know what I got. I may be on the smaller side right now, sophomore year, but like, come on. Like, I'm watching, you know what I mean? It's just one of those.
And that has to be tough.
It was awful.
But I'm just saying, like, coming from a school the previous year that didn't even have football. So now you're really going 2 years without football. Right. Yeah, I couldn't imagine that.
And I'm just watching the games just go. You know what I mean? So it literally took one week they put me on kickoff, and that was the only time I could get in the game. I'm like, oh, y'all done messed up. We ran this kickoff. It's JV, so we don't have a good kicker. So he's gonna kick it where he can kick it. But we were trying to target this one kid in particular. It wasn't a kick returner, but I forget like the positions, but he's on the right side, maybe second row, because that's about as far we can kick. Kick the ball, it drops on the field, nobody's there, boom, it's going backwards. Kid turns around, goes to pick up the ball. As soon as he look up, boom! It's over. Well, smacked him. So like, my mouthpiece gone, his off. And
a lot of built up anger.
Bro, it's like everything just kind of went silent. And smaller kid, definitely a smaller kid, But I turn to look at the coach like, what's up? Like, one of those moments, like, man, put me in, like I told you. And like, literally started practicing varsity like halfway through the season because of that one play on kickoff. You know what I mean?
And that's a story in its own, because like kids these days, I mean, it takes a special kid to want to be out there. Like, if I can get on the field, just special teams, I'm okay. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just showing, like, a lot of kids these days, it's like either I'm playing varsity offense or defense, or it's like, this ain't for me, or I need to go somewhere else. So I mean, that's I'm glad you said that, man. For all the high schoolers that's listening, man, that's a testament in itself.
Special
like
teams will get you where you need to go if you
take it seriously.
If you take it seriously, like, it's one, that's an art in itself, because you really got to pay attention. that's you guys. You
gotta
got to
lock
keep your
in
head
special
on the
teams.
swivel. Like you got to know everything that's going on. Like that's definitely not something to play around with. But it's like coaches respect that too. Like
Yeah.
you know what I mean? That's you being completely like selfless and understanding the team component because that's probably the most like team oriented like play.
Yeah, you got offensive players, you got defensive players.
100%. And it's literally like war. Like it's literally ground zero. Like everyone has pretty much quote unquote a head start too. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
everything it has to be poetry in motion for anything on special teams to work. But yeah, like that's what started it. And like that's kind of how I got respect from my friends that are my teammates because again nobody was really rocking with me.
Yeah,
they saw that and they see the ambulance getting the field. Oh, this is he. Okay, then he like, okay, all right. We
he said, "Let me put some respect on his name."
Let's dap him up because he a little crazy, but we can rock with him for right now. So that was cool. But they don't get that. Like I waited a year. Like. Yeah, I waited a whole year just to play the game that I love. Like, so I took everything I had left in me out on that one play.
That one play.
That's right.
Nah, man, that's awesome for real. Especially to get that look finally and earn your stripes and get to that varsity level, bro. In high school, that's all you ever want to do. Just play varsity, start varsity. Then Friday night lights hit so different than Saturday mornings. But just so different. Nah, bro. I mean, but just as for earning it, bro, taking it from a kickoff play and earning your stripes on the varsity level, bro. I mean that is big. That is at the college level, you'll see that a lot more because you gotta wait your turn, you gotta earn your stripes, and you gotta.
And that may be the quickest avenue for you to get on the field.
Get on the field.
You better.
I mean, in college, it's a lot about trust. You know what I'm saying? They can trust you on special teams. Okay, let's throw him out there then.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Because I mean, there is 3 parts of the game too. There's offense, defense, and special teams is a big part of the game where you can win or lose a game off special temes.
Absolutely.
So those are definitely important. I mean, obviously in high school, college, but man, that's crazy for real. That's what's up, man.
Yeah. So I mean, let's fast forward to that. I mean. Let's jump into it. We talked about, you 6 days from graduation, you had to go head to campus. Let's jump into a little bit of football. Like, how was that transition? Because I know obviously everybody that's been at the collegiate level knows that football in college is a lot different than it is in high school. So I mean, how was that transition into the workouts, the meetings? Training, eating, like how was that transition into your freshman year? Like,
I'll say the hardest part for me was the eating, because the only thing I had to eat was center court, and I wasn't particularly fond of that to get my calories that way. That some didn't sit right with me with center court.
Like that
couldn't do it.
What was that?
The burgers.
The burgers.
The burgers was about it. I couldn't do anything else.
Sweet and sour chicken.
Couldn't do it. So I got on the market point train real quick and find somebody with some swipes. Get me in there. The upper echelon.
Yeah, that was
center
upper echelon.
wasn't doing it.
Tenders.
Yeah.
Dang, bro, that's
treat you a little better.
Yeah. I didn't even know that there was levels to swipes. Like,
oh yeah.
Yeah, I didn't either. Like when you just said it, it threw me off. But like,
because y'all wasn't spending enough. That's what it was. y'all gotta break the bank a little bit. But I didn't have it either. Don't get me wrong. I told you when I came to school with that box TV, I gotta get in good. But yeah, like wasn't used to the diet. Coming to UC was the first time I drank protein before. Like there wasn't like any dietary thing set up for me in high school. Parents didn't know nothing about sports, and I'm the oldest. So it's like I never went to I went to a couple camps here and there. I didn't really do too much. So it's like a lot of what I had was just what I was born with. You know what I mean? There was no training behind it. So the workouts for sure were different. I definitely should have took care of like my body more, like stretching, and I didn't know like the work that needed to be put in afterwards, like
The maintenance.
recovery wise, like um so I'm just used to running around. But when I started working out at the collegiate level, I was getting banged up, like just kind of having groin hamstring issues because I never knew just how to take care of it. You
Right.
know, I just thought I could just run around forever and it'd be cool. But now I'm doing way more cuts than I'm used to. Like now people are way faster than what I'm used to playing like in high school. Because before I was just
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Just run around. Now I'm like, okay, I gotta pay attention because he kind of moving. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and now I came in as a cornerback, having adjusted receiver, and it was just like trying to understand both really, like, and then the mental component of it, like schemes. Now I didn't have to worry about schemes in high school and different techniques and whatnot. And now putting the logic and reasoning behind things, like, and how you practice um, scenarios, like in situations, like why are we practicing being down? Like what's going on? You know what I mean? But you got to, like, you know what I mean? And you know, if a team gets a safety, this is what we're gonna set up and do. And like it was a lot, and I loved it because I loved the game, but mentally, it's definitely something that you gotta like, you have to prepare for at the beginning of each and every day, you know, or you'll burn yourself out. But yeah, I think it was a perfect chaos, you
Yeah.
know. But you know, I love the game, so I was here to learn. It was still cool to me, you know, still fresh.
Yeah. That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah, bro. I mean, getting into that college level is just. I remember my first few workouts, doing them 300s, them 110s, just all the above. Them summer workouts. I don't know what was worse, summer workouts or the winter workouts.
Winter. Winter.
I don't
All day.
know.
Winter.
Winter.
My first,
You had to
Bro,
wake up at
out
the
in that
butt crack
heat
of
though,
dawn.
that heat is
You had to wake up at the
crazy.
butt crack of dawn, and it was freezing cold, and you had to make that walk, and then you had to make the walk back. Now, I'm going
but
winter all day.
but um, we had a whole bunch of snowstorms that helped us out in the winter of what year was that? 14, to where the
Well,
university was shut down
the university shut
for
down. Yeah,
weeks.
now 13, my freshman year, no, they didn't care about that snow. You better get them boots on.
Man, no, I think camp in 14 was like the last year they did like 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
Did not like that. Was not a
Compliance
fan.
was like,
Okay,
nah.
That was not cool.
really.
That's not legal. I ain't like that.
Compliance cut that down.
Yeah, nah.
Out of higher ground, you talking about?
Yeah. I disagree with the three.
Yeah, we
I
had
thought
like a morning. We had like a morning practice, and then after like a couple hours, go eat, come back, meet, practice, then go eat again. Then we'd have like a walkthrough, but it was like not a walkthrough.
yeah, they just said that.
It was on the script. It was
We was
scripted as
running.
walkthrough. He like, man, it's in a walkthrough.
Right. Yeah, that wasn't. I ain't like that. I was tired.
Yeah.
And then
High
people
ground
getting ate up, bed bugs, and
was that
you
that
don't
buck? Was
want to
that
go to
that year the
sleep.
buck?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my god!
Yeah, they had bed bugs in the bunk that year. I said, oh my god, you just see.
I went to sleep.
Oh, that's
Everything on.
sickening.
Yeah.
Everything. If I could have worn my shoulder pads to bed, I would have. Ain't about to bite me.
I'm sleeping in the dining hall, but we finna
Man, nah,
move.
there were some guys that would sleep with the older guys in the hotel. They just sleep on the floor because they didn't
Yeah,
want like, hey, we're not sleeping in this bunk. And, you know, rightfully so though. I wouldn't either.
bro. Yeah, that would have been my third year. I would have been going to higher ground. In 2014, that's when I did stop playing. Was like spring, kind of summer of 2014.
Okay.
But no, that's where we kind of just missed crossing paths at UC.
Yeah.
Right, kind of when you got in that summer, I was kind of finishing up, or I guess getting medically disqualified. But So, I mean, college, bro. I mean, I don't know. I guess adapting to college from, especially living wise, high school, having that direction from your parents. I mean, you kind of mentioned it was night and day. How were you end up? How did you end up being able to like adapt? I guess you had a really good foundation growing up, which is great. But a lot of kids, bro, they have these temptations. You know what I'm saying? It's Friday night.
My
They got
foundation
happy
didn't set
hour at
me up.
Woody's. What's that?
My foundation, um, from what my parents instilled, like at home, didn't set me up at all for college.
College, nah, it don't sound like
Nah,
it.
it because I was very, very, very sheltered. My parents sheltered me from a lot of evils like in the
Mhm.
world, and things that like even in the media that would come out, we would have discussions about this and that before I was exposed to it. So like I was completely sheltered, bro. And coming to college, it's just a free for all. But I will say this, because it was good and bad. When I got to college and once I got adjusted to the football schedule and school was about to start, I had to sit myself down. I think I moved to UPA and I sat myself down. And I was like, you know what? We are going to be something else. You know, you are going to you're going to create something for yourself, and not like another persona, so to speak, to where like I'm talking in third person, but like, you know what I mean? But just to be active, and to say yes. Like I made this yes rule. You're gonna say yes to opportunity. You're gonna say yes to doing certain things. And you're not just gonna be camped up in this room. And because that's all it was like growing up and in high school. And I was like, you have this amazing opportunity, beautiful campus, and just a land of opportunity for yourself. And what you guys see now today is all due to that, because I literally did not talk like at all. Like I was so uninterested in communicating with anybody. Like there wasn't anything that you could do or say to me that was going to get me to, interact. But it had to start with that one conversation, literally with myself. And then
Yeah,
it was just like kind of a 9-day change. Started, picking up jobs like left and right. Zach, I don't know if you remember, I was all over the place,
all over the place,
working
dog.
working so
You're a
many different
smoothie
jobs.
king, boy.
Yeah, like just things that didn't make sense, like things that didn't even fit my schedule because I was just saying yes to. Ending up at certain like places, parties, gatherings, events, like all around campus, like just to get out there, introducing myself to everybody that I came in contact with on campus. I wanted to know everybody, I
Mhm.
not because I wanted them to know me. It's just I'm trying something different,
Yeah,
and
Yeah.
I just wanted to see it through and see where it was going to lead me. So, my parents did not set me up for any of that. It was like something I really had to will myself to do, and it was tough, man. It was definitely tough. Football helped for sure, like with the season approaching, but it got overwhelming at times, because it got confusing. I didn't know who I was. Like, am I just a football player? Like, do people only care about football? Are they interested in who I am? Do I need to try to pursue interactions with certain people further? Like, I didn't know what the line was for anything because it was so new, and it felt like I was like stepping into something so blindly. And there was a lot of good that came out of it, but there was some bad too. It was
yeah,
a lot of bad situations, bad scenarios, dealing with people I shouldn't have like even dealt with. But that word yes is strong. It
Yeah.
is.
for
It's a
sure.
strong word, but it's I wouldn't change any of it, for anything.
That's what's up.
No, for sure. I mean, it's definitely, you grow up in a certain area, you're moving X amount or,
Hmm.
or to a new place you'll be for the next 2, 3, 4 years. I mean, people definitely, what I'm saying, do have that opportunity to change. And I mean, it sounds like you did, and for the best of it, it all worked out because you've opened yourself up. Now you're networking with the people of Cincinnati, kind of building. I don't know. You got to start somewhere. So I mean, I'm happy
For
to
sure.
see that started in college, and it all worked out just to where you are now.
Absolutely.
So I guess also too, I'm curious about because you're a preferred walk on. So you were working while playing football.
I want a little bit of money, man. I was picking up shifts when the schedule would allow. Um, Definitely ramp things up after like I was done playing. But in in high school, I worked at Donato's while I was playing football. So in my mind, not really understanding the rigor of things, I'm gonna do that again.
Yeah.
You know, the Donato's right
Right
behind,
there. Yeah.
short line. Yeah. Oh man, the fatigue I felt from trying to do that and like trying to communicate how much my schedule was changing was a little bit too much. Um, so end up that was kind of short lived. And then I focused more on like opportunities within like
You
UC
see,
ball.
right? Yeah.
You know what I
So called.
mean? And then eventually, after I stopped playing, that's when I started like, all right, let me try this, and this, and this, and this, and this. You know, because now I got time now. I got a lot of time. You know, a lot of
Nothing
time
but time.
before. Too much, way too much time.
Right.
But
How many years did you play?
I was there like 1.5.
Okay.
And that was a tough decision. That was a real tough decision. I think I think a lot was going on that year too. There was a lot
14.
going on the team side of things. Um, we lost another player for the second year in a row. Um, and that was somebody that I was like growing super close with. Um, and I think that time period in which things happened really took a toll on me early, and I didn't talk to anybody about it. So it weighed a lot on me, and it affected me a lot on the back end of things. Um, so we were actually together. Like it was my group worked out 6 a.m. You know, we're all together, and business is normal as usual. And then practice is at 1. We in the locker room about what 12:15, getting ready, and I'm pissed. He ain't here. Yo, what are you doing? Texting him. Like, what's going on? Because I know he was taking the reps after me. I know if you don't show up, I got my reps and I got your
Yeah, I
reps.
got your reps. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, yo, this ain't the time. Like, I'm tired, bro. I had a long week. Like, you know, and I was pissed, you know, went through that practice, and I just remember being so frustrated, so tired, and but got through it. So I'm like, all right, cool. It wasn't that bad. Like it's practice, you know what I mean? It's not that
practice.
bad. It's not that bad. Coach Tubbs calls us up, and Ray just do his thing and in practice, so I could go get out these clothes, whatever. Said first thing out of his mouth, I got some more bad news. It doesn't hit me yet, and I'm wiping. I remember this so vividly, like I'm wiping my face. Everybody's on the knee, and pretty much just came out and said it. And I respect him for his approach to it, just ripping the Band-Aid off. It's like we lost another teammate, another Bearcat, and the words pierced me so hard, you know, not only because like I was feeling so guilty for feeling frustrated, but it was like, bro, I was just with you. You know what I mean? Like we were just with you, and now the only thing I can see is your face from earlier today. And
was that
Shimoda?
Yeah. And he was on his way to practice.
Right.
It happened.
Yeah.
And he was close to arriving to practice. And that was rough, man. That was rough. Keep in mind, you're talking to somebody who is so sheltered, and my parents are young, so I don't really have any real experiences with death. So losing a teammate and a friend, I tell people that to this day, that feeling is so different than like a like a family member, because we're in our mind, like we almost we expect and we know that we're going to lose family members over time.
Yeah.
There's no blueprint for losing a friend, for losing a teammate, somebody that you spend these intimate, brothership moments with. And I never felt that before. And I know you guys wholeheartedly can relate to another degree. But even like Flick before,
Flick the year before, bro, like just
right,
back-to-back
and
years.
I didn't know necessarily how to feel. So that happens, and you know, the next week I think we're preparing for Ohio State too. So just all of that, the hype on that, and there was even like that's I thought that was going to be a cool opportunity for me, just Columbus and whatnot.
To go back up to
you know
Columbus.
What I mean?
Yeah.
Go back to Columbus to the shoe, and they did a tribute for him, which was beautiful. You know what I mean? Which I love. I love every. They didn't have to do that, and I'm so grateful that they did. But then his funeral ended up falling on my birthday, and that was so weird, man. And it felt like I couldn't really escape those. I wasn't talking to anybody. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And I was really down and out, and I didn't feel like I was comfortable enough within my team, or I didn't want the focus to be taken away from the. You know what I mean? Like I didn't know what to do, so I spent a lot of that in darkness, and it didn't do myself any favors. Definitely with my academics and things like that. Other things happened along the way that year, and then going into that second off season, I needed to take a step away. You know what I mean? I just needed to take a step away. I felt like I was losing myself, and I really didn't know who I was outside of football, because I didn't really have coming out of my family's household, I didn't know who I was,
Yeah.
And now being alone, I really needed to find myself, a soul search, and not depend on football as a crutch, because with that, I'm just a football player to people. You know what I mean? Because there's nothing else behind it. So the best thing I could have did, I think, was, take those moments away, and still be there in other ways, eventually, but just get right. You got to get right.
Yeah, you got to. That's the biggest thing, man, is at some point we all go through things that can be detrimental, man, and that have you lost for a period of time, to where you have to actually sit back and take a step back from reality, so to say, and just figure it out. Like whatever it is, you gotta take a step back and figure it out. I mean, I think that's been one of my biggest things, man. With all this that's happened this year, is I've been trying to find time, and some of it is, I mean, I don't know if there is an appropriate way to do it or an inappropriate way to do it, but just I've been finding time to like disconnect from the outside world and just sit with myself and try to figure it out. Like, I mean, so I definitely understand you saying you had to take that step back.
And me more than anybody. Like, there'll be times where I just kind of fall off the face of the earth.
Yeah, disappear. Yeah,
you need those moments. Things start to get cloudy. All right, I'm gone.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And I do that. Maybe more than I should at times. Maybe it's me reverting back to like my past.
Yeah.
But I think it can be used as a tool too. So definitely keep that up if it's working for you.
No, yeah, man. Sometimes I gotta disconnect. It was a saying that I forget where I seen it or heard it. Somebody said you gotta disconnect to reconnect.
Yep.
I like that. I like that. Yeah. So I mean, I definitely, and I encourage anybody else that's like you said, it's cloudy, man. Just go ahead, disconnect, take some time for yourself. Like that's key, man. Yeah. Because if you don't take care of yourself, it's hard for other people to take care of you.
There's too much going on out here that just doesn't make any sense. And you can't make any sense out of it. And you gotta be able to be comfortable and to sit alone and process what you got going on,
Mhm.
your own emotions, because nobody's gonna do it for you.
Right.
You know.
So, I mean, that's deep for sure. At 19, roughly 20, 18, 19, 20 years old, you having that, I don't know, fruition or just when it comes to mental fortitude to decide to step away. Because, I mean, I'm speaking on my behalf. I more so, I mean, after I stopped playing, it was a lot of masking to it, a lot of just covering up, a lot of just distractions, I guess, not thinking about what I really need to sit down and think about.
Mm.
So, I mean, for you to do that and have that mental fortitude to be able to have that type of decision making and know what's right for you, bro, I mean, that's huge. So for you to even do that, but let alone kind of tell the folks that it's okay. I mean, that's awesome for sure because not a lot of people, especially as men, black men at that, as we all
Yeah.
are, but a lot, I mean, men, women as well, but like, we're tough. We just like to, especially we're football players, or we're you know what I'm saying? We don't hit the gym and
Mentally
things
tough.
like
You
that.
taught to be mentally tough like your entire life. Like,
hmm But no, I mean, I don't know. That's just something that I never really took the time to do that. I'm
Yeah.
glad it definitely helped on your end and then where you
I
are now.
wouldn't. I wouldn't even say that I knew it was the right decision to make. You know, it was kind of just. It just kind of felt right in the moment. Um, and once that's not a decision you can just turn around and be like, just playing. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, like.
yeah.
So it happened. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, like, all right, this is where we at. I
That's what we
gotta
doing.
figure this
Yeah.
thing out.
Yeah.
It was just one of those. Um, but yeah, it was. I feel what you're saying too. It was tough. You know, um, not not the way young Tyshon would have pictured things coming to an end. You know,
Mm.
Yeah.
um, we like to think that if it's over, somebody's gonna have to pick me up off that field. You know,
Yeah.
and I had the opportunity to keep going, and I walked. So it's just like you have thoughts of feeling like a quitter. You know what I mean, or even feeling like, oh, you done let some people down. You know, but I will say this. Um, God helped me find my way back to the game that I love and cherish, and um, led me right back to where the journey started with the Bearcats. And I'm that is something I think I desperately needed because everything did take a toll on like my life in terms of my academics, and I was lost. I didn't have the football was probably football when we talked earlier about a mentor. Football was my mentor.
Mm.
Football was the only thing in my life that has been consistently there, you know, from start to finish, never late, on time. When it's season time, it's there and I can count on it, on multiple levels. You know what I mean? So to have that gone for the X amount of months that I had it like taken away from me, or when I chose to step away, there were times where it felt like my life was over. Like my heart was gone.
Mm.
I didn't know how to put myself into anything else. I didn't care about anything else.
Right.
I still got. I didn't. When I made that decision, I probably didn't factor in that. Oh, I still got to go to class.
Yeah.
I don't go to class. What am I going to class for? Football was my reason
I
to
ain't
go
got
to
football.
class.
I ain't got class.
Right. You know what I mean? So when I got the opportunity to connect with like the video team for the Bearcats, man, and that brought me back home, man, and I felt the love. Like I thought that I was going to be looked at a certain way. I feel like I was treated with at times too much respect. You know,
Mm.
I think people respected the fact that like I did play before, and it kind of carried over, and I was surprised. But that is a testament to how like special like the Bearcats program is, and the love that's instilled within them. But I ended up trying video out for a season, bro. It wasn't good by any means. Just wanted to try it. While I was playing, I always wondered how, like, we would have the film from the practice ready before we even took our pads off.
Before it's
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's ever like registered to you guys, but like for technology advances, that's pretty insane.
Yes.
Like for our film to be cut up in so many different like folders and whatnot, you know what I mean? Like that's crazy to me.
Because they were recording so much during the practice. Like
100%.
Indy, special teams.
Right.
We're on this side of the field. Offense, defense.
20 different
like,
periods. And my helmet's still on. What are we doing? How do you know what I'm saying?
I'm walking to the locker room.
Right. It seems so futuristic to me. So like I got cool with Adam Niemeyer, and I just wanted to learn.
That's my guy.
That's my guy. And I wanted to be around it so much. You know, I still wanted to be around the game. And this was like a way for me to still connect with the player, you know? I mean, hey, I was riding the bench when I first got there. What's the difference to this? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I was red shirt when I was there. I'm doing the same thing. And I just got an extra accessory now. You know what I mean? So it was like, it was cool. They could have gave me a little bit more gear, but it's cool. Just a little bit. But that brought an interesting pivot to my life to where jump started. All right, now this is Tyshon the man. This is the point where I grew up. That football season, it came and gone. It went. I forget how well the Bearcats did, but it's over. I'm still in school. I'm about to go into my last year. What now? You know what I mean? So for the first time in my life, I did something very impulsive, and I'm not an impulsive guy at all. You guys have heard now how reserved, private I am. Like, I ain't about to just do nothing crazy. The Bengals reached out to Adam, and they were like, hey, we just need a couple extra hands for, like, the summer session. Adam sent a group me message to our group. Hey, like, the Bengals need, like, 2 guys to help them out with summer. Who wants to do it? Bro, for the first time ever in my life, read the message, said me. Don't even remember thinking about it. Like, just said me. Yes, I'll do it.
Didn't process it, just like me.
Don't even know. I had to look at it to see what it was exactly. You know what I mean? But I just had a feeling, you know, that God was sending me something. I was being gifted an opportunity again, you know, and I knew that this journey with this game wasn't supposed to end even now. So I said, yeah. And luckily, most of the guys, there was guys way more qualified than me that have been doing video for X amount of years. You know what I mean? And I've tried it out for a couple months. Barely know how to turn the camera on, you know? But luckily, I guess a lot of the other members live in like Indiana. So in the summertime, they're going back home. So it just made perfect sense, you know, with me and the other guy that I went to go do it. Man, I went in that stadium and they interviewed me for about 4 minutes. And they're like, we're bringing you on because you played football and you played it at the collegiate level and you know what these drills are supposed to look like. Most video people we bring on, we have to teach them what these drills are.
Or like how it should look on the film,
100%. So you may not know from a video experience standpoint the back end of the camera, but guess what? We only want you to press stop and record. Can you do that? I think so. Try it. You know, and that one yes turned into 2.5 weeks with the Bengals. That 2.5 weeks with the Bengals turned into 3 seasons with the Bengals. And I am forever like in debt to them, to Adam, you know, to everybody that offered any bit of support, because that was my beginning to anything, you know. And maybe, you know, being shipped off to Cincinnati a week after graduation, maybe that was the real beginning,
That was the beginning, yeah.
You know, but that's why I ride so hard for Cincinnati the way I do, because every adult situation, this is how I lead my pitches to like businesses and stuff now. Every adult situation, every adult decision, every adult experience has been in Cincinnati for me. So I truly feel like Cincinnati has adopted me, you know. So with all the love that I've received, I got to get that love back. I have to. Cincinnati done gave me more than I deserve. You know what I mean? and triple fold. You know, I've done some pretty neat and cool things that most people don't get a chance to do. From playing college, just being able to be a part of a collegiate football team at that. That's crazy. I've never been a part of a winning program. We went 9-4.
Yeah.
I got a ring, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I got a ring in Jersey. Y'all can't tell me nothing. Like, nobody can tell me anything.
Right.
I still got clothes from my freshman year at UC with the tags on them.
Yeah.
You know, gear. Just because
they gave you an XL or 2XL though.
Oh yeah, for
You
sure.
can't fit it. That's
For
why
sure.
Dumb, dude.
I can't fit those. But you know what I'm saying? I get to flaunt it a little bit.
Yeah,
but
Yeah.
I'm just appreciative, man, of the opportunities and the different jobs that I've worked. We talked about Smoothie King. Bro, I worked at Smoothie King, French Fry Heaven, Donato's,
French Fry
intern video all at the same time. Getting straight D's because I wasn't in class. I was at work.
Straight D's.
Hey,
man.
D's get degrees.
Man, hey, was neglecting the hell out of my work, trying to get to some money on. But like I was just saying yes to all these opportunities because I felt like they must be coming from somewhere, and they're definitely coming from God in Cincinnati for sure. And you know, I was just a young man just trying to find my way, you know. And I don't know where this road was going to lead me because none of it makes sense, you know, from video to berries and smoothies to pizza. Like, where am I going?
Well,
you know
what I'm doing, yeah.
I got video at the Bengals. Now I'm doing a nonprofit. Like, it makes zero sense.
Yeah,
but
I mean, I guess that kind of leads us into, I guess, our next segue. Is like you talking about you owe Cincinnati everything because what Cincinnati's done for you.
Yeah.
I mean, let's talk about your foundation, man. I mean, I think you do everything. The majority of what you do is based in Cincinnati. If I'm not mistaken, like if you go above and beyond in my eyes. I mean, I've shot you multiple messages like that. Hey, dog, that's slick, man. I like what you're doing. Like what you're doing right now. That's very powerful, very meaningful. So I mean, you do it for the kids, for the most part. So I mean, let's dive into that a little bit, man. Like let's tell us like what made you take that route of wanting to start your own foundation and give back. I mean, you said Cincinnati's giving you a lot, so we know that part, but there has to be a little deeper, little meaning to that.
For sure. You got to stay with me a little bit because it's weird. I think I take pride in it being a weird story.
Yeah.
Growing up, we try to give back. We've done things where we adopted families and this and that, and it's always been super cool. My grandmother played a huge role. I learned that she did a lot for kids, broke some rules even like as a music teacher to make sure her kids had what they needed and went above and beyond, just giving back to them as many ways as possible. So that was another thought. I've always been an individual that, you know, because I'm so private, I deal with my emotions privately. And I feel what others feel. If any one of you, you know, you would tell me a sad story right now, I had no problem crying with you.
Right.
Not because I'm particularly sad, but I see how it's affecting you. And that makes me sad.
Mm-hmm.
Empathy. You got empathy.
No empathy for sure. And no different than hearing the news about Deej. My heart broke for y'all. You know, and I loved him too. But I know what he meant to you guys, you know. And that's again, Zach, why which led me to send you that message.
Appreciate that for sure.
Always. But circling it back to Holden Hands, I didn't want to start no nonprofit. I didn't want to. I had no idea what a nonprofit was.
Yeah.
I had no idea whatsoever. This was not planned. This was not supposed to happen. I was running. I was going through a phase of transition to where I needed to get away from certain people. I needed to start over. I was not acting the best. I got out of a relationship. I just needed a fresh start. So I was down and out. Ended up having to move to this apartment where I'm at in December of 2021. I think it was like we were just coming out of COVID. Maybe it was 20. No, I think it was 21. It's December 4th. Had to move immediately. And as I sit here, no furniture, nothing in here, empty. Grateful to have somewhere to lay my head. Just now what? What do I do now? I look outside and mopey, sad, crying, count 10 homeless people outside. And it really like put things in perspective for me. Man, shut up. What are you crying for? We got people sleeping on concrete in the ice and snow, face down. And you up here in a damn near high rise looking down on them.
Almost a penthouse.
You know what I'm saying? No, cut it out. Cut it out. But
I've been there almost.
No, cut it out. But things could be so much worse. And I remember, after we laid my grandmother to rest and we went to her funeral and hearing like the amazing things that she's done, I had an epiphany moment that day to where it made me believe, it made me really think how much I actually knew her, because I didn't know the giving and the charitable side of my grandmother. It felt like I met her for the first time as we're laying her to rest in her casket. And that was the biggest like epiphany to me. And it was through all the testimonies and the stories and the joyous things people were saying who she was. I had no idea. To me, you were my grandmother, but little did I know you were everybody's grandmother. All the kids that you helped raise and like, be impactful for 40, 50 years of your life. So, I made a pact to myself that, I was going to continue that some way or fashion. I didn't know how. So when I saw that on my windowsill, I got it. Started calling my friends. Hey, I need about 10 coats. That's all I need. 10 coats. I don't even have a coat myself. I got these UC hoodies, but I just need 10 coats to just bless the people I see outside. Because guess what? I go to work. I see the same faces struggling every time I leave my place. What does that say about me? If I can look you in your face, recognize that you're the same person from yesterday in the same situation, and I'm not doing anything to help you out. How can I be a human and do that to you? You know what I mean? And I think we get in a circuit or a cycle of dehumanizing people based off of how we view them from a class perspective. Their status. You know what I mean? That don't even exist for real. Down to your core, we all one. We all human. Take the color, take the status, take the class, take that all out. This is my brother out here sleeping in the cold, frozen, about to die out on the street because he don't have nothing.
He don't have anything, yeah.
And I get to go to bed comfortably, and I think I'm sad. Come on now, that don't make no sense.
Yeah.
So started the conversation, and I just, I was reaching out to people. Hey, do you have a coat? And that ask for 10 coats turned into 500 coats, and then once I hit 500 coats, word started to circulate. And at this point in here, I'm just living on other people's junk. The news reached out to me. Hey, are you going to be up at 4:30 in the morning? I'm like, why? What's up? We want to come do like 3 live news shows in your building. Okay, what about? Yeah. We just hear like you're collecting stuff. I'm like, okay, cool. So news did 3. Reached out to one of the players from the Bengals, like, hey, I'm just gonna make this quick little video. We're just gonna load up this bus with all these coats, and we're just gonna go to like Vine and Liberty and like just hand stuff out. Cause I got all these coats. It's cold out, man. There's a big storm coming. Just did it that way, and it turned out to jumpstart everything. News reached back out again, and once my people started figuring out my address or where I was collecting, those 500 coats turned into 8,000 items and then shortly after. And it's like people were just donating stuff left and right. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what this is. I don't know if there's a name for this.
Right.
It's just a giveaway, one big give. I feel like I'm Oprah right now.
Right.
Like,
You get a code.
like,
You get a code.
yeah, like I'm just like I don't know what to do with all this stuff. And then like then it kind of hit me, like I'm getting a lot of women's things, like how can I be like creative with this? Like, is there a creative space for this? Then I started splitting things off into like initiatives, like, okay, well, let's do like a women's wellness thing. There was a semi that flipped over. It was all tampons. So somebody dropped off like 1 million tampons to me. So I'm like, oh, okay, I'm getting a bunch of everything.
Yeah.
Just living on top of it. I'll show y'all pictures later. Just like literally, like I didn't have a floor for like 6 months. And I'm trying to figure out what to do with all this stuff. And had a conversation with somebody. They're like, okay, you probably need to look into what a nonprofit is. I'm like, okay. And honestly, bro, I took the next like 15 months to really learn what that was. And in the midst of that 15, I'm going to companies. Hey, you want to do a coat drive? You want to do this and that? I got every single time it was a no. Nobody wanted to do it. The idea is cute. I'm thinking I can just waltz in here with this cute charitable idea and it makes sense. But businesses are like, okay, how does that help us?
Yeah, how does it benefit us?
What do we gain from that?
Yeah.
And that wasn't the response that I was expecting. I just thought, you have a community section on your website, like, yo, okay, so cool. What's your pitch? Like, I'm like, pitch, what's that? What's your proposal? I'm like, oh, I need to go back to school. Like, I get nervous. But I took those 15 months to really like learn, okay, I know I have the right idea. And my knowledge, I'm trending in the right direction. How do I make this attractive to organizations, businesses, to the everyday person? What's going to be my draw? How do I suck them in? What experience can I provide that most companies don't have access to and that they can't pay for? So I started to think, like, what can I create that even the execs of the execs at GE or Procter or whoever, they can't even buy? What do I have? It comes back to me saying yes to everything back when I got to UC, working all these jobs, meeting all these people, paying attention, interacting with all my classmates, everything that I did, 7-8 years ago at that point, it all hit me. Like, it's all the people that I met along this journey of being in Cincinnati. Because all the people that I met in college, they're out now. They got these jobs. Yeah. Now I can call on them, hey, you remember me? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was that kind of interaction. Bengals, hey, got these players. I'm not going to create these events and like have you just show face. What do you want to do? Let's go to your hometown.
Yeah.
What do you care about? How did you grow up? You grew up in a group home? You had a mentor that saved your life? All right, let's do that for these kids. But let's make it fun. Let's interact with them. Yeah. Oh, you play video games all day when you leave? Bro, we could do that with kids.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and just incorporating everything all together, making it full circle. And I'm like, bro, this is I think I found my own little lane here.
Yeah.
To where there is no, like, I'm founding it. I'm the middleman. I just need you to trust me. I'll do all the work. You know what I mean? You just tell me what you're looking for and I got it. I'll create it. So that's kind of like jump-started everything. And with certain access to like the players and different people, these companies can't even buy that because I have a personal relationship with these people. Yeah, you can give them money to show up, but you can't get them.
You're not getting that person though. Like,
right. You know what I'm saying? You can't get them to interact. You can't get them to engage, better than what I can do. So I'm just playing and acting on that for now. And again, because I took those 15 months, you saw that first year, like I was just ripping them.
Yeah.
And I did, almost 20 events last year, first year. And it was expensive at times, but it's a different payment when you get with a nonprofit. You get paid in testimonies, you get paid in smiles, you get paid in like tears, even, hugs. And that form of payment is gold to me. It means everything. It's worth way more than any monetary value because it keeps me balanced. It keeps me whole. It keeps me, understanding that humanity is still out there and better days are ahead for people if willing to assist and lend a hand. So that's, in a nutshell, that was kind of like the fast version of it, but that's how I got started, and that's the direction that it's trending in, so to speak.
Yeah. No, I read on the piece that you had from Voyage, Ohio, back in 22 after or prior to starting things, I guess. But you had said my consistency is what I think I'm most proud of. To accomplish what I have so far has been such a test. I have many moving pieces on my plate at the moment. It comes with many sleepless nights. My outreach is not just one-time success story. I want to continue this for the rest of my life. What sets me apart is my outlook on others. We are all one. We are all the same. Before you can put any sort of class, color, or role, you have to understand that we are brothers and sisters. We are all human. Can't turn a blind eye to our struggling brothers and sisters around the city. I refuse. I need them just as much as they need me. I mean, definitely is. I don't know. It's powerful to see. Not only did you say this 2 years ago, but everything that you've been putting on since then. Just even what you had said first is my consistency. Even you said it earlier in the podcast. My consistency is what I'm most proud of, and not a lot of people do. I don't know. Even we're me and Zach. We're in this beginning stage. We're still trying to figure it out. But the consistent part of bringing it and doing it, even when you don't want to. Who knows what type of people you'll impact? But I mean, what you're doing already, it's impacted. You can't even put a number on it. But bro, I'm excited. I'm definitely excited to see if you put on how much you did last year, what this year is, and what the next few years are to come. I mean, I guess asking that, what would you say? You started it back in 22. We're in year 2 now.
Yeah.
What do the next 5 years look like growing this organization, this foundation, this nonprofit?
So hearing you ask is so funny because companies ask me that all the time. Like when I go through this process with them, GE just asked me that a couple weeks ago, and I tell them the same answer. The only way I know how to be is authentic and real. I couldn't tell you, what a 5-year or 10-year mark or plan looks like at this juncture because it was never supposed to be this. Like I got into the beauty of this story is literally I just wanted 10 coats. Like there's nothing more, nothing less, So again, like I will have to make a 5-year, 10-year plan, but I think it's important for me to say that because it started just as a good deed, act of heart. I didn't come at this from a business, standpoint. Like I just genuinely feel like see a need, you have to feel that need. And if I had to tell you what some plans are, I would say like I want to expand. I want the notion to be like, yeah, we may be based out of Cincinnati, but our impact is felt nationally and then eventually globally. So that's what the plan is. And, I have, been in different cities, different states to plant that seed. But, the goal is to grow. And the way I am going to grow is, continue to partner with these large companies that may have bases and satellites in different areas to where, what we do in Cincinnati, we could go ahead and do, elsewhere. And I set up all my events to where they can be taken on the road, with a couple tweaks here and there. Like the children's events, like it's not like it's a whole bunch into it. It's just a whole bunch of intention. It's the intention that's important, and the time. It's just being present. That's half the battle, especially with kids. They just need somebody there. That's easy. You can damn near do anything. Just be there. Just allow them Allow them a space to be kids. And guess what? There's homeless people all over this nation, unfortunately. It would be nice to come up with a formula to where, I can be that one-stop shop, all over for those in need. If I can't be there in person, I could ship things off to where they're getting the resources that they need. Um, a large portion of what I do outside of like the kids work is set up resource fairs to where individuals that are homeless or seeking job employment or just down and out don't have to keep going across town back and forth for certain opportunities. Man, y'all know where they at. Bring them the
Right. Bring it
resources.
to them. Yeah.
Come on,
Right.
man. Like,
Yeah.
come on. Are
Yeah.
we serious?
Mm-hmm.
I just think that is so like it's so unfortunate that people who already are having a tough time at this thing called life, dealt a bad hand, we just make it that much harder for them to get on their feet. Like, it's crazy
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
Right.
And it don't take that much.
At all.
It don't. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Especially with these large business, send somebody there. Like, you don't
Yeah.
gotta send the whole off. Send somebody.
To somebody. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I set up these resource fairs where there's 20, and I partner with Turner Construction too. Important I say that, but we just set up these resource fairs in Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky to where people know one is where they're already kind of congregate like in that general area, but they know that we have their back and it's a one-stop shop. They can come get all their needs at the same place.
That's
You
what's
know.
up. That's
Yeah.
that's major. That's key. Because now, like you said, now a lot of these major companies who could effortlessly do it don't do it. So that's big. In that same article that Voyage Ohio article that Poncho just mentioned, you said the hardest part is always the beginning, and it was because fear was at the top of your list. For me, just seeing you interact every time I see you interact outside of this, you always come off as so confident, so strong-minded, and you seem like you know what you want to do, and you're going to get it done. Mm-hmm. Would you say fear at this point in life is still the top of your list on what's like the thing that gets you? Is just fear.
Fear. Yes, I suffer. I suffer from anxiety. That's an uphill battle every day.
Mm-hmm.
Not to the point where I don't think holding hands is a good idea, because I have a good feeling or thought that like it works. There's a place for holding hands. It's just, again, because of how non-traditional this business is, and again how I didn't really started off to gain is from like a money perspective.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard for me to try to understand like the business side at times, because in my head it's just the right thing to do. So the fear comes into play, as I pitch these companies and like try to ask for help, because I'm not the person to really ask for help. I just want to do, but I need their backing. I need their support. I need awareness to be spread. And I know if I get so-and-so on board, that, the reach is different.
Yeah.
The game is different, So understanding that has definitely been a challenge, because I don't even ask my parents for anything, Now I got to go ask you for money. Like,
somebody I know, but I don't really know. Like,
you know what I mean? And even then, companies aren't just going to give you money. You have to show your worth and show that they can trust you and build a relationship with them. So I'm constantly having to do this, do that, and, walking on eggshells, had to rebrand like all my social media. I can't post nothing crazy.
Yeah.
Everything is a reflection of what, I aspired to do,
brand. Yeah.
100%. So I got to be very careful with how sometimes I act, How many times like you've seen me like out socially I gotta sit down, bro. I gotta be on
Yeah.
the outskirts.
Yeah. No, facts.
I'm not saying that people are watching me. You know, I don't think I'm anybody special, but you know, it's just that's the price. Like,
Right, yeah.
you know what I
You gotta
mean?
sit
Like,
down.
that's just the price of it all. So fear is a difficult word, I think, to use, but I think it's a portion of it. I think there's better words to use now. Um, I think I'm ready to get a glimpse of what the future could look like. Because again, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't know.
No, that's okay. That's what's up. Yeah, I was definitely thinking about that because when I read it, I'm like, man, he talking about fear. I said that ain't what I see from him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like it was eye opening to see that you had said that he talking about fear. I'm like, I don't see that from him. Okay.
One thing I do want to hit on. I know we talked about it before we started recording, but what it takes to start a nonprofit, and just curious, let the people know how it all works. I know you had mentioned that you're required to have a board, and just when it comes to, I guess, the ins and outs to it, people learning how to run a business, learning how to run a nonprofit, let alone start something. What kind of advice can you give on your route?
Um, take your time. I definitely took mine. Um, I feel like I took my time and I still rushed it. I feel like the only reason why I did launch it is because we only getting older, and if I was going to go ahead and launch it, I needed to do it at that time. Um, but advice that I would give outside of taking your time, um, do it the right way. You know, I went through an attorney, somebody that could help talk me through the process, as opposed to relying on books, YouTube, which is you can 100% do it that way, but you know how you perceive it may not be always correct, and you know sometimes what I thought was wrong. You know, it's a lot of verbiage. You know, especially when you're getting into building any business or starting a business, launching anything. Like the verbiage can be confusing, especially if you don't have any prior knowledge to it. Um, Definitely go about it the correct way. Have an attorney do it with you. Um, Always, it's a business, but you got to always remember impact. I could go do events every single day, right, and do as much as possible, but if the impact isn't there, it's all for nothing. What is your bottom line? You know, it's something sometimes I got to be reminded of. You know, there's sometimes throughout the year where it may get too athlete heavy, and the tension is more so on who's attending than what we're actually doing. you know so I have to be mindful of things like that. Like, you got to keep the main thing the main thing. you know so I try to connect with individuals that align with what I'm trying to do, not just because of their name. If it don't make sense, it don't make sense. You're gonna have to say no to certain people. you know um there's certain famous people out there that hit me up that not saying they have, but that could hit me up, and I would be like, no, it don't make sense.
Yeah.
It just don't make sense.
You
Can't
don't
do it.
align with the values that
100%.
you are aligned
Because
with.
you got to think too. Let's say I'm doing something with kids. That's a very delicate situation.
Yeah.
I think all the situations I'm dealing with are very, very delicate. So my three pillars are underprivileged children, battered women, and the homeless. I got to make sure that I do my due diligence, I do my homework, I do my research to make sure I'm not crossing any lines, offending anybody. You know, to make sure that it does make sense to set things up a certain way. You know, because everybody, you know, is different, and there may be some triggers associated with what I have going on.
Mhm.
You know, and I can't just fill the room with just anybody. Nor do I want somebody who may not be qualified to represent Holden Hands for me. Sometimes the best way is the safest way is just to do it myself, you know? And I definitely have to make sure when I bring people on that they understand that. Because, you know, I think because of how unique some of my events have gone or and how they are or who may be there, that people get confused on what it actually is. Like
Right.
it's not a free for all, it's not a party.
Yeah.
You know, there's a mission associated with it. There's education tied into things. You know, there's pure intention. There's a will to give a better tomorrow to somebody. You know, um, so yeah, I would say those would be key. And then lastly, don't be afraid to be human. Um, you can't be too proud to hold your emotions through these situations. You know, some of the best moments for me are crying with somebody. Um, you people sometimes I post only the happy, you know, moments of it all. It ain't always happy. You know, you get to know some very depressing, sad, humiliating sometimes stories, encounters, and whatnot. People have real issues going on, you know, and the people that I try to service, I'm servicing them for a reason, you know. They may feel like they don't have a voice or they're unheard, you know. So a lot in most scenarios, it's some sad stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The fact that I can get a couple smiles out of some of the rooms that I walked in is a huge plus. I don't think it's me, I think it's God. But you know, it's not always gonna be easy, you know. I've been
Right.
in some real difficult environments that made me question even if I want to continue this, if I can handle having a nonprofit. Been in some real rough like rooms, and it's hard to, again, with someone who hasn't been exposed to too much. This is my first exposure to a lot of this, and it's so easy, and I feel it in me sometimes where I want to run away. That's the easy thing to do, just get out. But each day I'm pushing myself to, you got to sit here, man. Like you you started this, you got to finish it. And if it's not, it's bigger than me now. I'm finishing this race because of everyone coming up after me
Mhm.
and the people that I got to help down the line. So there ain't no going back now. I'm stuck, you know, and I love that, and it genuinely keeps me going.
That's what's up. So
No, bro. I mean, everything I'm hearing, I'm definitely excited to see what other kind of how much you can really help not only the city of Cincinnati but state of Ohio, this nation. I mean, there's a lot of help that's needed. A lot of people like you that are needed in this world. To just not forget, let us remember we're all humans.
Mm,
And just when it comes to just taking things with a grain of salt, I mean, you've got a clear head on your shoulders, and just your testimony, your story, everything we've heard, bro. I mean, I'm we've talked on certain occasions, but bro, I'm looking forward to seeing what's to come for you for sure. Because I mean, even to you accrediting God to a lot of things in your life, that's what a lot of people forget to do, and you just having that at the forefront, not knowing what direction it'll take you, but going just with the wind, and being confident, like Zach had said, in yourself, the way you go about it. I mean, there's a lot more in store. So this is just the beginning, bro. So I don't know if we want to wrap this up, but I
yeah.
am appreciate. Yeah, I appreciate you coming on, man.
Nah.
I'm grateful that you were able to tell your story. Um, I'm thankful for sure
Yeah.
as well. You were the first guest, bro. You gave us the real.
oh, you can only have one first. Hold on.
Hey.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
But
That's
now,
what's up.
hey man, for sure, like he said, you are our first guest. But like with that being said, I mean we've obviously had 2 episodes already, and we kind of like we told our stories and we like went back and forth. But there were there was a lot of back and forth between me and him. I feel like this one right here was a really special one because you really like you had our attention. I mean, you were doing the majority of the talking, and I
Yeah.
think that's major because I mean that wasn't the plan coming in. I'll tell you that right now. Like we had questions and we was like, we gonna do this, but like for you to sit here and come out here and you just grabbed our attention with your testimony. I mean, I've known you for a while, bro, and there's things that you're saying here that I didn't even know. I'm like, oh wow, like
Right.
that's crazy. So man, like having you on here, man, is a blessing. I mean, you're a blessing to this world. I just want you to know that for sure.
So, well, fellas, we can go ahead and wrap this up. Tyshon, again, appreciate your vulnerability. If you guys haven't just yet, subscribe to our channel, 81 Reasons Pod, on all platforms, YouTube, Facebook, IG. Just got for audio only listeners, Spotify, 81 Reasons Pod there as well. And if you guys can support Tyshon and his mission, please visit his website, his Instagram. Go ahead and tell them where they can find you.
Yeah, so go ahead and follow on Instagram _ Holden Hands, and you'll see in the bio my personal account. It said ran by Ty.Holden, also on Instagram. Um, Website is under construction. We're going to update that soon with the next couple of events coming up for the fall. We're going to dive into like our children initiatives coming up. Anything from back to school to Christmas, Thanksgiving, things like that. So make sure you definitely tune into that and see, how you can help out, get involved.
Definitely. Yeah, we're all humans, so don't forget it. Definitely count our blessings, and if we can be any help in the future, I'll definitely be in touch with you. I've got plenty of stuff to kind of get with you on,
Yeah,
closed story. But
for
thanks,
sure.
fellas. Y'all have a good rest of your night, and 81 Reasons Pod, we out of here. We'll
Yeah,
see you.
Love
appreciate
you,
you, bro.
BD.
I wanna show you that I care.